I never thought I'd kill a man with my bare hands, but when I felt the life drain out of him under my grip, all I could think was that it felt like justice. Raw, ugly, and long overdue. The cabin reeked of pine and betrayal, the kind that festers in small-town America like an open wound. And as his eyes glazed over, whispering my old name like a curse, I realized the body I'd stolen back wasn't mine anymore. It was a weapon, forged in the fires of a swap that no one saw coming. It started 6 months ago in the fluorescent hell of a Chicago courtroom, where the judge's gavel cracked like a gunshot, sentencing me, Amelia Harper, the devoted wife, the loyal accountant, to 20 years for embezzlement I didn't commit. The evidence was ironclad. Wire transfers in my name, forged signatures that matched my handwriting down to the flourish on my Y, and security footage of me slipping into the bank's vault after hours. But I knew the truth, even if the jury didn't. My husband, Victor Kane, the golden boy of Kane Financial, had done it all, siphoned millions to fund his mistress's cocaine habit and his own political ambitions. He'd framed me to climb higher, to bury me under the rubble of his sins. And the worst part? He'd whispered it to me that night in our Gold Coast penthouse, his breath hot against my ear. "It's for us, Amy. You'll understand." I didn't. I never would. Prison was a different beast altogether. Danville Women's Correctional, a concrete maze in the Illinois flatlands where hope goes to die. I was Amelia Harper on paper, inmate number 47892, but inside, I was unraveling. The other women called me Ice Queen because I kept my head down, poring over legal briefs by the dim light of my bunk lamp. But nights were worse. I'd dream of Victor's smug face on the news, touting his tragic loss while running for state senate. He visited once, through the plexiglass, his suit crisp as ever, eyes gleaming with pity that didn't reach his soul. "I still love you, Amy," he'd said, pressing his palm to the divider. I pressed back, imagining it shattering, shards embedding in his throat. That's when I met Dr. Elias Crow. He wasn't a doctor, not really, just a disgraced neuroscientist doing time for unethical experiments on the black market. Hired by some pharma giant to tinker with memory serums, he'd cross lines into full-on mind alteration. In the prison library, amid stacks of dog-eared John Grishams, he cornered me one afternoon. "You look like a woman who's been erased," he said, his voice a gravelly whisper that cut through the hum of fluorescent bulbs. I laughed it off, but he persisted, sketching diagrams on napkins. Neural pathways, synaptic bridges, the pseudoscience of consciousness transfer. Body swaps aren't fairy tales, Miss Harper. They're chemistry, right neurotransmitters, right voltage, right desperation. I thought he was crazy, another lifer chasing ghosts. But desperation has a way of blurring lines. Over weeks, we talked, me venting about Victor's betrayal, him confessing his own fall from grace. Elias had lost everything to a rival who'd stolen his research, a serum that could theoretically map and relocate a person's essence, swapping minds like keys in a lock. "It's not perfect," he'd admit, eyes darting like a man who'd seen too much. Side effects, glitches in memory, phantom pains. But it works. I tested it once, on rats. Then, volunteers. The way he said it, with that half-smile, made my skin crawl. But so did the thought of rotting away while Victor thrived. The plan crystallized on a rainy Tuesday in the rec yard, rain slicking the chain-link fence like tears. Elias had a contact outside, a former lab assistant who'd gone rogue, smuggling in vials disguised as vitamins. "We need a conduit," he explained. "Someone to bridge the gap. But for you? Target Victor. Get close enough. Inject the serum during intimacy. Boom. Your mind in his body, his in limbo until we reverse it." It sounded insane, a plot from some pulpy thriller. But the betrayal burned hotter than fear. Victor was coming up for re-election. He'd be at the annual Kane Gala in 6 months, schmoozing donors in our old lake house upstate. I'd get paroled early for good behavior. Elias pulled strings with a crooked warden, and from there, slip in as a ghost. Parole came like a fever dream. Paperwork shuffling, a bus ride to freedom that tasted like ash. Chicago hadn't changed. Same loop traffic snarling under sodium lights. Same wind off the lake whipping my hair. I holed up in a Fleabag motel on the south side, funded by Elias's hidden stash, practicing my new alias. Lena Voss, Victor's long-lost cousin from the holler. The serum arrived in a plain envelope, 2 vials glowing faintly blue under black light. One for the swap, one for reversal. Timing is everything, Elias's note read. Heart rate peaks, defenses down. The gala was a circus of excess, crystal chandeliers dripping from the lake house rafters, air thick with cigar smoke and old money. I wore a slinky black dress that hugged curves I'd forgotten, hair pinned up to hide the prison pallor. Victor spotted me across the ballroom, his eyes narrowing then widening in recognition. Or was it lust?
Lena? God, you look just like.
He trailed off, handing me champagne that fizzed like lies. We danced, his hand low on my back, whispering about family lore. Amy was the best of us, he murmured, breath sour with scotch. Lost her to bad choices. I smiled, teeth gritted, and led him upstairs to catch up. In the master suite, our old bed, sheets starched crisp, the swap happened fast. A prick in his neck during a kiss, his body going slack as my mind flooded in. The world tilted. Suddenly, I was looking down at my old face, pale and slack-jawed, while my consciousness rode Victor's frame like a hijacked ride. Panic hit first, his memories flickering like static. Boardroom deals, the mistress's moans, the night he doctored the books and pinned it on me. Then rage, pure and electric. I dragged Amelia's body to the closet, bound it with silk ties, and injected the limbo dose. His mind, my old prison, was trapped in stasis, a vegetable puppet. Now I was Victor Kane. Or close enough. The glitches came quick, headaches like lightning, echoes of Amy's voice in my skull. But power? It was intoxicating. I canceled meetings, liquidated assets, funneled cash to Elias for extraction. The Senate run? A smokescreen. My real campaign was revenge, slow, surgical, the kind that leaves scars no surgeon can fix. First target, the mistress, Cassandra Hale. Victor's little secret, the one who'd urged him to frame me for her debts. I found her in a Bucktown loft, high on whatever flavor of the week. Vic, you're early, she purred, but her eyes sharpened at the syringe I dangled. What's this game? No game. Just the serum, a one-way ticket to madness. As her mind unraveled, babbling confessions into a recorder, I watched from Victor's eyes. Tall, commanding, untouchable. The cops picked her up the next day, raving about body thieves. Front page scandal. Senator Hopeful's lover in psych ward meltdown. Victor's poll numbers tanked. Donors fled like rats. But Victor, me now, was slippery. I played the grieving widower. Tearful interviews on WGN. Cass was troubled. We all make mistakes. Inside, I plotted deeper. The secret he'd buried. Not just embezzlement, but the hit that killed my father. Old Man Harper, the whistleblower who'd sniffed out Victor's schemes years back. A car accident on I-90, brakes tampered just so. Victor's doing, covered by a crooked mechanic in his pocket. I'd suspected, but proof? Gone with Dad's dashcam, stolen from evidence lockup. Digging it up meant going dark. I ditched the penthouse for a burner phone and a rented Escalade, driving north through cornfields that blurred into Wisconsin pines. Elias met me in a Eau Claire diner, face gaunt under trucker hats. The glitches worsening? He asked, sliding over a laptop. Worse, yeah, flashes of prison showers, Amy's hands clawing bars. But the files he had? Gold. Encrypted drives from Victor's safe, emails to the mechanic, payout logs. Use it wisely, Elias warned. The serum's unstable. Swap back soon, or you're both ghosts. I didn't swap back. Not yet. The mechanic, Rusty Grimes, lived in a trailer park off Highway 53, rusting Fords guarding his double-wide like sentinels. Night fell sticky sweet, crickets chorusing my approach. He answered the door in boxers, beer bottle dangling. Kane? Shit, man, it's late. I shoved inside, Victor's bulk filling the frame. Remember the Harper job?
His face drained.
Lies tumbled out. Accident, I swear. But the recorder caught it all, plus the dashcam footage he'd hoarded for blackmail. I left him zip-tied, anonymous tip to the state police. By dawn, sirens wailed. Rusty's empire of chop shops crumbled. Victor's world was fracturing, and I savored each crack. Board members whispered defection. The press hounded me at every fundraiser. Is it true about the affairs, Senator? I'd flash that Kane grin. All teeth and no remorse. Smoke and mirrors, folks. Real change comes from owning your past. Lies, all of it. My past was Amelia's cage, and I was dismantling his brick by brick. But the glitches intensified. Nights where I'd wake screaming her name, feeling phantom chains on wrists that weren't mine. Elias called. Extract now. The cabin, our safe house in the Adirondacks. Coordinates incoming. The GPS pinged as I crossed into New York, upstate's curves hugging Lake Champlain like a lover's secret. Fog rolled in thick, headlights carving tunnels through white. The cabin emerged like a specter, logs weathered gray, chimney belching smoke that smelled of regret. I killed the engine, boots crunching gravel. Elias was inside, silhouette pacing by firelight. But voices drifted, low, urgent, not his alone. She's coming, you idiot. Once she's here, the reversal serum goes in the fire. Victor's mind wakes in her body, none the wiser. We split the Kane fortune. And Amelia? Back to Danville, double the sentence for faking her death. My blood turned to ice. Elias? Betrayer number 2. His contact was a ghost. This was his endgame all along. Use me to gut Victor's empire, then discard the husk. The door creaked under my palm, hinges screaming like accusations. Elias spun, eyes wide. Vic, Amelia. You're early. No time for words. I lunged, Victor's fists connecting with his jaw, bone crunching like gravel. He fought dirty, scalpel from his kit flashing, but rage was my edge. We grappled across the floor, serum vials shattering in blue arcs. His neck snapped under my chokehold, final gasp a wet rattle. Amy. Forgive. I staggered back, chest heaving in Victor's lungs. The fire crackled, devouring the reversal vial. No going back. Amelia's body, my old shell, lay in the corner, limp and waiting. But whose mine to claim? The truth twisted like the fog outside. Elias hadn't invented the serum. Victor had. Years ago, in a black site lab funded by Kane money, testing on vagrants for corporate espionage. My framing was the cover. The real crime was the swap tech, buried after Dad's accident threatened exposure. Elias was the patsy, hired to perfect it, until Victor double-crossed him too. The GPS hadn't led me to salvation. It led me to the heart of the lie. I knelt by my old body, syringe trembling. Limbo dose left, enough for one mind to fade forever. Inject Victor's consciousness back? Or let Amelia rise, free but fractured? The cabin walls closed in, wind howling secrets through cracks. Justice or mercy? In America, they're often the same damn thing. The fire popped like gunfire, spitting embers that danced across the cabin floorboards like fireflies drunk on deceit. I stared at the syringe in my hand, Elias's last gift, poisoned by his treachery, and felt the weight of 2 lives pressing down, Victor's broad shoulders suddenly too heavy to bear. My old body, Amelia's shell, slumped against the wall, chestnut hair matted, lips parted in silent accusation. Those eyes, my eyes, stared vacant, waiting for a spark that might never come. Outside, the Adirondack wind moaned through the pines, carrying the distant hoot of an owl, like nature itself was mocking my hesitation. I should have seen Elias's play coming. The man was a snake in tweed, all Ivy League charm masking the rot. Back in Danville, he'd spun tales of redemption, but now, rifling through his duffel by lantern light, I found the proof, ledgers and code, transfers from a Cayman account to his name, siphoned from Victor's slush fund. He'd been Victor's shadow investor all along, feeding me just enough rope to hang myself. The swap wasn't liberation. It was a heist, with me as the unwitting mule. Double the sentence, he'd said. For what? Impersonating a senator? Manslaughter in a domestic dispute. The headlines wrote themselves. Ex-con wife kills hubby in bizarre love triangle. But the deeper cut was the serum's origin. Victor's emails, decrypted on the laptop, painted a nightmare canvas. 2018, a nondescript warehouse in Gary, Indiana, where Kane Financial bankrolled Project Echo, mind transference for elite clients. CEOs swapping into younger bodies, politicians erasing scandals. Test subjects, the desperate, the disposable, homeless vets, junkies lured with promises of clean slates. Dad had stumbled on it during an audit, flagged anomalies in the books. Victor's fix? The accident, then framing me to tie up loose ends. I was the patsy twice over, the loyal wife who signed her own noose. Glitches surged then, a migraine splitting my skull like an axe. Flashes, not Victor's memories, but mine, Amy's, overlapping like bad film stock. The penthouse kitchen, Victor's hands on my throat during one of his rages, bruises blooming like ink under silk. You're nothing without me, he'd hissed. Or the boardroom, his voice barking orders while I tallied the lies. I collapsed against the table, the cabin spinning, wood smoke stinging eyes that weren't quite mine. Whose hands were these? Veined and strong. Victor's, yeah, but trembling like a girl's. I needed air. Stumbling out the door, fog swallowed me whole, boots sinking into mud that sucked like quicksand. The Escalade loomed, GPS screen glowing ghostly. Recalculating. Funny how tech never forgets the path, even when humans do. I drove blind, headlights carving futile swaths, until the tires bit gravel again. A overlook perch above a black mirror lake, waves lapping like whispers. There, in the cab's vinyl seat, I pieced the endgame. Option 1. Revive Amelia, inject the limbo serum into Victor's current shell, me. Let his mind wither in this body, a vegetable in a suit, while I reclaim my skin. Walk away the victim, sue for wrongful conviction, live quiet on the settlement. Poetic, maybe. But Elias's voice echoed. Glitches worsen. My old body was tainted, neural pathways scarred from stasis. I'd be a ghost in my own life, haunted by Victor's echoes, his tastes, his cruelties bleeding into mine. Option 2. End it. Overdose both vials, let the swap collapse. 2 corpses in a cabin, ruled a murder-suicide, star-crossed lovers undone by passion. The Kane empire crumbles, scandals erupting like geysers, embezzlement, experiments, patricide. America loves a tragedy, devours it on true crime pods and 60 Minutes. I'd be free in death, but what of justice? Victor's sins buried with him. No confession, no reckoning. The radio crackled to life, static birthing a news bulletin. Breaking, senatorial candidate Victor Kane missing after Adirondack retreat. Associates fear foul play amid mounting scandals. His face flashed on the dash screen, that practiced smile cracking under scrutiny. Calls flooded in, I imagined. Mistresses, donors, the DA sniffing for leverage. Time was a noose tightening. Back at the cabin by midnight, the fire guttered low, casting long shadows that clawed the walls. I dragged Elias's body to the woodpile out back, axe biting deep. Thwack, thwack, until he was kindling, buried shallow under leaves. No traces, no witnesses. Just me, the syringe, and the choice. Kneeling by Amelia, I brushed hair from her face, fingers tracing the jawline I'd mourned in mirrors. Wake up, girl, I whispered, voice a hybrid gravel, Victor's timbre laced with my lilt. The needle hovered, serum beading like sweat. But controversy calls to the controversial. I thought of the decisions that got me here. Trusting Victor's vows, ignoring Dad's warnings, inking that first loan for his big break. Each a brick in the wall. Now the wall crumbled, and I could rebuild, or burn it all. The injection went in slow, Victor's mind flooding back into its vessel. He gasped awake in my old body, eyes wild, hands small, scarred, clawing at the air. What the fuck, Amy? You bitch. I stood over him, towering in his frame, a god in stolen flesh. Welcome home. Vic, meet the new you. His scream was music, high and broken, as realization dawned. The frame job, the serum, Elias's corpse out back. He pieced it frantic, sputtering denials that dissolved into sobs. I'll fix it. Lawyers, money. Please, Amy, I love you.
Love.
The word curdled, same as that night in court when he'd mouthed it across the room. I let him beg, pacing the cabin like a prosecutor, laying out the ledger. Cass's meltdown, Rusty's arrest, the files leaking to WikiLeaks by dawn. Your empire's ash, Vic. And Dad? That wasn't an accident. His face crumpled, the powerful man reduced to a woman in flannel, mascara-streaked tears carving rivers. Controversial? Hell yes, revenge and drag, gender's cruelest joke. But justice? It tasted like bile. As sirens wailed distant, Elias's phone, left on with a panic button, I made the call. Not cops. A private jet to a clinic in Mexico, where black market docs could attempt a reverse swap. Risky, glitchy, but possible. One chance, I said, hauling him to the Escalade. Confess everything, on video, notarized. Or I drive us both off the Overlook. He nodded, broken, filming on my phone as we sped south. Embezzlement, the hit, Project Echo's horrors. Victims' names tumbled out. 20 souls swapped and shelved, their bodies sold to the highest bidder. The twist hit mid-drive, over the border in a dust-choked motel. Victor's confession unlocked a drive in the glove box, Elias's final fuck you. Project Echo wasn't Victor's alone. I'd greenlit it, Amelia Harper, junior accountant, signing off on R&D budgets without questions, blinded by love. My mistake, my crime. The frame? Partial truth. We'd built the beast together, until Dad threatened it all, and Victor pulled the trigger to protect us both. Nausea roiled, glitches exploding into full blackout. Whose hands gripped the wheel?
Mine, Force?
The motel neon buzzed vacancy. A lie we both lived. I collapsed on the bed, Victor, in my skin, hovering, syringe in hand. Your turn, Amy. Swap back. Face it together. Or was it mercy? The camera rolled, capturing the debate. Redeem or destroy. Dawn broke bloody over the desert, decisions hanging like scorpions' tails. America waited, scandal-hungry, verdict-thirsty.
Who is the villain now? Us. Both.
The Mexican sun clawed through motel blinds like fingers accusing, painting stripes of gold and guilt across the threadbare carpet. Victor, trapped in my old body, his tailored soul fraying at the edges, paced like a caged panther, the confession video looping on his phone. Upload it now, Amy. End this nightmare. His voice cracked on my name, high-pitched and unfamiliar, each syllable a reminder of the swap's cruel poetry. I sat on the sagging bed, Victor's hulking frame feeling like a borrowed coat too tight across the conscience, the syringe rolling between my palms like a loaded die. We'd crossed at Nogales under cover of night, the Escalade's plates swapped with fakes from Rusty's shop, irony's bitter pill. The clinic was a squat stucco bunker outside Tijuana, recommended in Elias's encrypted notes. Dr. Ruiz, a defrock surgeon with a sideline in neural tourism. No questions, just cash up front, and a waiver thicker than the Bible. But as we waited for his call, burner to burner, ghosts in the machine, the glitches weren't just headaches anymore. They were invasions, Victor's memories bleeding into mine like ink in water. Boardroom conquests, the thrill of the first kill, Dad's sedan crumpling on black ice. And worse, my complicity. Those R&D sign-offs? I'd initialed them over candlelit dinners, toasting to our future. Blind faith's the deadliest sin. You signed too. I spat, the words tumbling out amid a glitch storm. Vision doubled, the motel's peeling wallpaper morphing into Kane Financial's marbled lobby, my younger self, eager, adoring, stamping approvals with a flourish. Victor stopped pacing, my eyes, narrowing in that calculating way I'd once mistaken for charm. We were partners, Amy. In everything. The serum was our ticket out, immortality for the Canes. Partners. The word landed like a slap, controversial as hell in a country that romanticizes power couples until the indictments drop. He sat beside me, tentative, my hand on Victor's knee. Skin on skin, but souls ask you. Ruiz can fix us. One injection, we're back. You in your body, me in mine. We confess jointly, plea deal, house arrest in the lake house. Rebuild. His pitch was velvet over razor wire, the old salesman surfacing. But the drive's files whispered doubts, more victims, lists of echoes. Minds adrift in donor bodies, family shattered. Upload the video, and it wasn't just us falling. It was the whole rotten edifice, senators and CEOs exposed like roaches under light. The phone buzzed. Ruiz. Midnight. Bring double the pesos. We loaded up, desert wind sandblasting the windshield as we hugged the coast. Tijuana glowed feral, neon veins pulsing with vice, taco stands hawking al pastor next to strip joints promising oblivion. The clinic squatted in an alley off Revolucion, chain link and razor wire guarding pockmarked walls. Inside, Ruiz was a wiry ghost in scrubs, eyes like chipped obsidian. Swaps? Risky business, senor. Neural mismatch, 20% coma rate. He glanced at Victor and Amelia, smirking. She your wife. Bad karma, playing God. The procedure room reeked of bleach and regret. Gurneys bolted to tile, monitors beeping like impatient clocks. We stripped to gowns, awkward, intimate, bodies we'd shared in passion, now prison-swapped. Strapped down facing each other, IVs dripping saline prelude, Ruiz prepped the serums. Breathe deep. Count backward. Victor's hand, small, trembling, found mine, large, calloused. I did love you, he whispered. Still do. Lies or truth? In the glitch haze, it blurred. The needle bit, fire-lancing veins. World inverted, colors bleeding, memories colliding in a maelstrom. I saw Victor's childhood. Affluent neglect in Greenwich. Daddy's belt-leaving welts. He saw mine. Single mom waitressing doubles. Dad's rough hugs after factory shifts. Then the merge. Our wedding, Lake Michigan glittering. The night of the frame. His panic as auditors closed in. My signature his shield. Partners. Echoed in stereo. Awakening was nausea and light. Monitors flatlining false alarms. I blinked, Amelia's lashes soft against cheeks. Back. Victor groaned opposite, his jawline sharp again, eyes locking mine with feral gratitude. It worked. Ruiz pocketed his fee, vanishing into shadows. We dressed in silence, the swap's residue humming like static, phantom strengths in my arms, echoes of his baritone in my throat. But freedom? A joke. The video waited, uploaded or not. Back in the Escalade, barreling north through Baja Scrub, debate reignited. Burn it, Victor urged, voice his own, commanding. We spin the scandals. Elias the madman, us the survivors. Senate's still mine. Power's siren song, luring him back. I gripped the wheel, knuckles white, my knuckles.
No.
The victims deserve names. Dad does. Tension coiled, dark and American. The road warriors' crossroads, manifest destiny twisted into moral quicksand. We hit a gas station at Ensenada, pumps hissing under sodium halos. Victor slipped inside for smokes. I checked the phone. Alerts flooded. FBI trace on the burner, Cass's lawyers filing suits, Rusty's crew fingering Kane in the chop shop bust. The net tightened. He emerged, pack in hand, but his eyes, cold now, held a syringe pilfered from Ruiz. Insurance, he said, lunging. Struggle erupted, my smaller frame against his bulk, nails raking his cheek as we tumbled across the lot. Gravel bit skin, a pump clanging as we hit it, sparks, then whoosh, flames licking the undercarriage. You never learn, I gasped, knee to his groin. He wheezed, syringe skittering into dust. Sirens wailed distant. Border patrols converging. In the chaos, fire trucks dousing the blaze, federals cuffing us both. We confessed piecemeal. Victor first bargaining. She's the mastermind. Me next. He killed my father. Truths half spun, controversial as a Kennedy conspiracy. The video? I hit send mid-scuffle, beamed to a journalist contact from prison days. By dawn, it aired. Kane Dynasty implodes, body swap horror exposed. Cuffed in separate wagons, eyes met through bars. Love, hate, a draw. The swap had fused us, glitches eternal. Justice? Debatable. But the empire burned, and in America's bonfire, we both roasted. Interrogation rooms in San Diego's federal lockup smell like stale coffee and shattered alibis, linoleum floors scuffed by 1,000 denials, one-way glass reflecting your own haunted mug back at you. I sat under the fluorescent's merciless glare, Amelia Harper again, wrists chafed from cuffs that felt like old friends from Danville. Across the table, a Fed named Harlan, square-jawed, all Southern drawl and skepticism, tapped a tablet streaming the video. Victor's confession looped. I framed her. The accident. My orders. Project Echo, a baby. Harlan's eyes flicked to me probing. Your play, Miss Harper? Or, did hubby here snap under the strain? My play. The words hung, controversial freighted like a loaded .45. Tell the full truth, my sign-offs, the willing blindness, and I drowned with him. Lie, paint myself the innocent victim, and the swap's mechanics stayed buried, victims voiceless. Glitches lingered, faint now, Victor's laugh bubbling up unbidden, his taste for bourbon souring my tongue. We were amalgamated, a two-headed hydra in the system's crosshairs. They separated us post-arrest. Victor shipped to a high-security wing in Leavenworth, me held local for psych evals. Delusions of grandeur, the shrink noted, scribbling as I described the serum.
Classique folie à deux.
But the video was viral. Fox decrying Hollywood hoax, CNN dissecting neural ethics, podcasters spinning yarns of elite immortality rings. Protests erupted outside the courthouse. Justice for echoes, families of the vanished waving faded photos. Dad's face among them, grainy from an old Easter snapshot. Bail hearing came fast, greased by a pro bono firebrand from the Innocence Project. Miss Harper was coerced, she argued, voice slicing the oak-paneled room. A victim of spousal abuse and corporate malfeasance. The judge, a grizzled vet with Bush-era cynicism, peered over specs. And the body swap? Sci-fi bullshit or breakthrough?
Vetta rippled, I swallowed bile.
Granted. House arrest, ankle monitor pinging like a digital leash. Victor? Denied, remanded pending charges. Murder 1, fraud, human experimentation. The lake house waited, a mausoleum of memories under upstate autumn blaze, leaves torching the hillsides like accusations. I arrived in a Crown Vic, Fed tailing discreet. Inside, ghosts convened. Our wedding china gathering dust, Victor's colognes congealing in the medicine cabinet. I burned it all in the hearth, photos curling, vows to ash, smoke curling up the flue like exhaled sins. Elias's laptop, salvaged from the Escalade wreck, held the keys, victim dossiers, serum blueprints. I leaked them anonymously to a Wired reporter, pieces of the puzzle scattering like shrapnel. Amelia Harper, hero or hoax? Headlines screamed. Debates raged on X, blue checks clashing. Feminist revenge porn versus tech dystopia warning. My phone buzzed nonstop. Book deals, Netflix inquiries, death threats from Kane loyalists. Controversy's currency, minted in clicks. But the real tension brewed in the glitches. Nights, I'd wake in sweats, Victor's voice in my head. Fight it, Amy. We're stronger together. Stronger? We destroyed each other. A toxic tango. Therapy sessions via Zoom, the shrink droning about integration trauma. Embrace the hybrid self, she cooed. Easy for her, sipping chamomile in Marin. For me, it was war, my moral compass spinning against his Machiavellian north. Climax brewed when Victor's lawyers filed, motion to suppress the video, claiming duress. Coerced by his unstable wife, the filing read. Unstable. The word ignited old fuses. I drove to Leavenworth under guard, conjugal visit exception, irony's gift, steel doors clanging like punctuation. He waited in the trailer, gaunt and orange, eyes alight with that old fire.
Amy.
You came. We embraced awkward, his arms, once mine, hesitant. Endgame, Vic dropped the motion, plead out. Full disclosure. He pulled back, smirking. Or what? Another swap? You can't without me. The arrogance, pure Cain. But the glitch hit then, shared like a virus, his fear mirroring mine, the serum's bond unsevered. We're the same now, I whispered. Confess, or I leak your private files, the ones with senators' names, CEOs in donor skins. His face drained, leverage flipped. He agreed, voice hollow, for us. The plea hearing was circus, cameras flashing, protesters chanting. Victor in cuffs, detailing the horrors. 20 echoes, minds marooned in limbo for profit. Sentences dropped. Life for him, time served plus probation for me. Victim status cemented. But the twist loomed, unspoken. My initials on those ledgers, a shadow complicity the feds suspected but couldn't prove. Released to fanfare, I fielded the press gauntlet. How's it feel, Mrs. Cain? Victor's widow now, or survivor? Justice, I said, camera-ready smile masking the churn. But in the van home, alone, the final glitch surged, a memory not mine nor his. Elias, in the lab's glow, injecting me first. Not Victor.
Me.
The frame's prelude, serum test to enhance loyalty, dulling my questions. Victor's sin, but my consent poisoned. The cabin called then, GPS recalculating to that foggy perch. I drove north, ankle monitor silenced by a hacker pal from prison.
Foxicar, paens whispering.
Inside, the woodpile undisturbed, Elias's bones fertilizer now. I lit the fire, blueprints crackling, serum remnants ash. No more swaps. Just me, Amelia, hybrid, whole.
Or was I?
The debatable end, redemption or relapse. America watched divided. I stepped out, lake mirroring stars. Jump?
No. Walk.
Into the dark, tense and free. Winter clamped the Adirondacks like a vice, snow muffling the world's roar to a hush that amplified my doubts. Back in Chicago, parole terms dictating urban tether, I rented a walk-up in Wicker Park, the kind of place with exposed brick and ghosts in the radiator clangs. The glitches had faded to whispers, Victor's timbre a faint echo in my laugh, his ruthlessness a shadow I could outrun. Or so I told myself, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, blades chopping air like unresolved sins. The aftermath was a media maelstrom turned slow burn, congressional hearings on neural integrity, bills named after Dad, Harper's Echo Act, banning mind tech with bipartisan bluster. Victor rotted in Supermax, appeals denied, his cell a concrete echo of the one he'd gifted me. Letters came, scrawled please. We're unfinished, Amy. Swap me out. I'll take the fall alone. Burn them, each a pyre for what-ifs. But secrets fester. The Wired leak birthed a book deal, swapped. A memoir of betrayal and rebirth, ghost-ridden by a sharp-tongued ex-prosecutor who softened my edges, spun controversy into catharsis. Launch party at a Lincoln Park bookstore, hipsters clutching arcs like talismans. Inspiring, they gushed, clinking IPAs. Inspiring?
Try nauseating.
I signed copies with a flourish, hiding the tremor. My initials on those ledgers, the complicity I'd buried deeper than Elias. The twist reversed everything one sleet last night, 3 months post-hearing. A knock, fedoraed courier, envelope sealed with DOJ wax. Inside, redacted files, Victor's private stash seized in raid. Highlighted, my signature, bold on Project Echo's Inception memo. Approved by a Harper per v. Cain directive. Directive. Code for Forge Ahead, blind. But the attached psych report, Elias's notes from a pre-prison consult. Subject Harper exhibits enhanced suggestibility post-trial serum. Loyalty absolute, moral filters dampened. I'd been swapped first, not fully. A microdose to puppet me into compliance. Victor's masterstroke, make the wife the willing architect, then frame the fall guy me. The betrayal looped infinite, deep as Lake Michigan's drag. Rage boiled, controversial decisions crystallizing. Testify anew? Expose my hand, risk perjury charges, debate my victimhood? Or silence, let the hybrid heal? I drove north again, chains rattling on iced roads, GPS defiant, rerouting to cabin. Snowdrifts flanked the path, the structure hunkered like a beast in hibernation. Inside, unchanged, fireplace soot, air thick with memory. I built a blaze, files fueling flames, watching my name curl to nothing. Victor's last letter, smuggled. Knew you'd come. The serum's antidote in the floorboard. Choose. Pried it up. Vial. Unmarked. Glowing faint. Reversal total. Purge his echoes. Reclaim pure Amelia. Or inject Victor. Summon him for a final confrontation. Bodies be damned. The wind howled debate. Happy ending. Antidote. Fresh start. Advocacy circuit preaching redemption? Or tragic. Summon him. Swap fates one last time. Both lost to limbo's embrace? Hours ticked, fire dying to embers. I uncapped the vial, needle glinting. For Dad, I whispered, plunging into vein. Fire lanced, memories fracturing, Victor's shards sloughing like scabs. Pain exquisite, cathartic. Blackout, then clarity. Just me, Amelia, unhybridized.
No echoes, no shadows.
Dawn broke crisp, snow virgin under sun. I walked out, cabin shrinking rear view. Chicago waited, therapy, trials, truth's endless grind. Justice? Debatable. Victor's cell eternal, my freedom fragile. But in America's gray, that was victory enough. Or was it? The GPS pinged anew. Destination reached.
No.
Recalculating. Always.